Hey everyone, my name is Morgan Housel. I'm the author of the book, The Psychology of Money, and I'm really excited to have you here for this exclusive course that I put together for Master Talks in Taiwan. I want to tell you a little bit about myself and my career and what I hope you will get out of this course. And again, I'm really excited to have you here. Let me start with a very quick story about two investors in the United States. Neither of whom knew each other. They never met each other, but their paths crossed in a very interesting way about 15 years ago. The first is a woman named Grace Groner. Grace Groner was born on a farm just outside of Chicago in 1910. She was orphaned as a child. She never married. She never had kids. She never went to school. She worked as a secretary for her entire career. She lived in a one-room house for almost her entire adulthood. She was, by all accounts, a lovely woman, but she had a very difficult and kind of understated life. And Grace Groner died in 2010. She was 100 years old. And when she died, she shocked everyone who knew her, who learned that she left $7 million to charity. And everyone knew her said, where did Grace, this humbled, orphaned secretary, get $7 million from? And they dug through her accounts, they dug through all of her paperwork, and they realized that there was no secret at all here. There was no lottery winnings. She didn't inherit any money. It was nothing like that. All she did is she took what little money she could save from her job as a secretary. She invested it in the stock market, and she left it alone for 80 years. And that was it. That's her entire story. The second investor I want to tell you about is a guy named Richard. Now, Richard had almost the exact opposite upbringing as Grace. He was born into a very wealthy family. He went to Harvard, got his MBA from the University of Chicago. He went to work on Wall Street in the early 1980s, and he literally became one of the most powerful and important men in global finance. He was a vice chairman at one of our largest banks. He retired in his 40s to become a philanthropist. That's how successful he was in his career on Wall Street. And this is where Grace and Richard's paths crossed in a very unique and interesting way that I want to tell you. 1 week after Grace died and left all of her money to charity, Richard filed for personal bankruptcy. He told the bankruptcy judge that the financial crisis of 2008 completely wiped him out. He had no income, no assets. He was completely wiped out. And this is what I think is so important about finance. The lesson from those stories that I want to bring to you today is not to say be more like Grace and less like Richard. That's not bad advice, but that's not what I think is really important here. What I think is important that I hope you'll get out of this course is realizing that there is no other field that exists in the world where that kind of story is even possible. There's no other field other than money and finance where somebody with no education, no background, no experience can massively outperform the person who has the best education and the best background and the best experience. This doesn't happen in any other field. And what it shows that is so important, maybe the most important thing that I hope you can get out of this course, is that doing well with money is not about what you know. It's not about how smart you are. It's not about where you went to school. Doing well with money is overwhelmingly about how you behave. It's about your relationship with greed and fear, who you trust, how gullible you are, where you get your information from, your ability to take a long-term mindset, your ability to keep your head on straight when the markets are being volatile. That's what matters. That is the most important thing in finance. And what's so interesting and important about behavior and behavioral finance is that behavior is hard to teach, even to very smart people. You can't summarize it into a chart or a formula that you can memorize like you might at school. Behavior is like a very soft and emotional topic, and so it tends to be ignored in investing, even if it is one of the most important topics in investing and with money. And so since behavior cannot be taught as a formula, I think the only way to really understand it and wrap your head around it are with stories. Stories of real people who are dealing with risk and uncertainty that hopefully you can empathize with and understand to wrap your head around behavioral finance and the psychology of money in a better way. And so what I want to do with this course is share with you 4 big ideas that I think are the most important parts of understanding behavioral finance. And I'm going to do it with some stories that hopefully you will enjoy and be able to remember to understand these concepts. So let's get going.